All right, so welcome to our first podcast, Brooke's Home Team. I'm here with Gina from Guardian Angel. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. How could you ask me that? You dirty rotten. I cannot divulge that information.
Oh.
They're all my favorite.
Oh, okay. Unfair question. Who's your favorite realtor?
Oh gosh, there's no way I can answer that question.
Darn it. Oh, I was hoping for that one.
I will say that I have made the closest, most best quality friends of my life since I've been in this field.
That's awesome.
Some amazing, amazing people I have met. And I truly love them. Of course, there was that family on Friday that we did the pool fence install for that had 9 kids with number 10 on the way.
Wow.
And I think their oldest was 13.
Okay. So tell us, so this is through Guardian Angel's pool fence initiative, Give Back. Yeah. So you guys are giving away a fence a quarter.
Right.
So that is awesome. I love the heart. That's one of the reasons for this podcast is to pour into others. I mean, I think that's super important, just have a heart for helping people. So, I mean, I would love to know more about how that initiative came about.
Okay. I would love to share that. So Guardian Angel originated due to a life tragedy in Ricky and Jessica's lives. And, something bad, something always good comes out of it. It was a time in their life where, people they didn't even know from other states were coming together to have fundraisers for them, to get them through their hard time. And they said, we need to do something different with our lives. We need to quit our corporate jobs, do something as a family, and do something to give back to the community. So with Ricky's background, he decided to go into home inspection. Usually a person's biggest purchase of their life.
Yeah.
And he wanted it to be a good investment for them, the best investment, and the least painless process for them and their realtors.
It's very important. And we value good inspectors.
So Guardian Angel was born. And that little blonde boy is Nick, and he watches over all of us and all of you. And we stick to that mission every minute of every day. We are all very passionate about it. The entire team loves Ricky and Jessica.
That's awesome.
And we are all about what they're about and why they're doing everything. And we 100% support them and are so happy to be on the team. I mean, it's a blessing.
That's awesome. How'd you get started in the company?
So Ricky and Jessica are friends with my neighbors.
Okay.
And my neighbors would have parties, birthdays and Christmas and Halloween. And we would see Ricky and Jessica there. And we always, hit it off and, had little conversations and what. And the neighbor's 30th birthday party, we all stayed at the Breakers.
Oh,
well,
nice.
Not all of us. There was only 6 of us, actually, Ricky and Jessica, us, and the couple. And we just ended up getting so close and talking so much. And they were like, hey, we want you to join our team.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I think they got to know me a little bit more in depth and what I did, and they loved what I did. And anyway, so I, of course, said, no, thank you. I'm going to retire in the field I'm in because I'm very passionate about it, which is special needs, still is, because I do it as a volunteer now.
That's awesome. That's, as you know, super close to me.
Yeah, so. I know. I think that's a little connection.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, we can respect that. And some things, that gets into your head. And I started evaluating where I was and said, you know what? I've grown and advanced so much in this field that I'm dealing with politics, the government, and I'm not spending any time with them. I'm not really involved in their lives anymore. And that was my passion.
Yeah.
So I said, I can always volunteer, and then I can do and be as long as I want with them.
That's awesome.
So I got on the phone with Jessica, and we spoke for about an hour. Then I got on the phone with the ops manager, Jared, who is an angel himself. The guy is amazing, unbelievable. And I was like, if half of what this guy is telling me is true, this is a good move.
That's awesome.
So I made the move, and it was super scary because I spent 30 years and a lot of education and so much time in that other field.
Yeah.
That what is that noise?
Air freshener.
Oh, I was like, there's an air freshener on there? Why?
My phone has an air freshener built in, you know.
It's an
It's
app.
Florida.
Was scared.
Yeah.
But-
I imagine, but you do a fantastic job. I can't picture you doing anything. You're just such a great connector, and like I see you just networking with everybody.
Thank
It's
you.
very natural. Does the volunteering like re-spark some like love for that field now? That because I know volunteering, I don't know. There's something about working for free that's just so much better than earning money.
I honestly, I would, if I didn't have to, I would probably work for Guardian Angel for free.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it.
That's how much I love it, and
Yeah.
how passionate I am about it, and how into it I am, and how much I love what I do. And okay, let's see. But as far as the volunteering, I absolutely love that. That's just, I volunteer for Miracles in the Outfield. The group homes that I managed, I'll go to them and I'll hang out with them.
That's
and,
awesome.
you know, connect with them. And it's such a different experience when you're not working and you're volunteering.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then
You don't have to deal with the politics, just the people.
Exactly. And that's the fun part.
Yeah.
And then you're not doing the difficult part and heart-wrenching part. And I actually this year in March went on a cruise with a family that has an autistic daughter. And I've been going with them for years.
No way.
Right. And I hang out with the daughter and the sister. And the parents get to have their own time because he's a heart surgeon. He never gets to like have alone time.
Wow.
So every year, except for COVID, I'll go away with them on a cruise and, you know, take care
I did
of...
not know this. We go on cruises, you know.
Sure. And if you can do something you love and give back to somebody, you should. Because you'll find the time and it'll work. It'll happen if you want it to. And once you do take that step or that leap, you'll be glad you did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what other things do you enjoy? I heard you ride a motorcycle.
I do. I grew up with 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Okay.
But the 2 sisters were much younger, so I was sort of a mom to them. But my brothers, we're 2 and 3 years apart, so very competitive.
Okay.
We grew up.
Did they ride too?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So 7 years old, I think, I started riding.
Really?
Motocross. Both
So the
my
parents
brothers.
must have been pretty cool.
Yes, very. Oh, very.
Okay.
We had, and this was unheard of in those days, we had one of the green iguanas that you see on the side of the road that lived in the house with us.
No way.
Yeah. So his name was Gollum, and he was, you know, about 5 foot before we lost him. So he was huge.
Yeah.
And it took a long time to talk my mother into letting him stay in my brother's room. But eventually they proved to her that they had a system to keep everything clean
Oh, that's hilarious.
and sanitary. And he lived with us in the house. And yeah, my mom was totally cool.
Yeah.
And she stayed home. So she was always with the 5 of us.
Okay.
We all went to Catholic school. So my dad worked really hard.
Right.
We lived in a little 900 square foot house, which cracks me up now seeing all these mansions.
I agree. I'm one of 7 that grew up in a 2-bedroom house in Delray Beach. My dad is actually still in that house. And we always had dogs and cats and all kinds of, and big dogs too, like German Shepherds, Great Danes. Yeah. I don't know. We actually had bunk beds in one room. There was 3 on one side and 2 on the other. So, you know, I can relate.
Well, I can totally sympathize with that, so to say, because we had 3 bedrooms, you know, mom and dad, and then the girls were in one room.
Okay.
And we were bunk bed with a trundle, and then my brothers were in the other room with bunk beds.
Right.
So we actually have a lot in common. There's
Yeah.
something else you said too. Do you not color your hair at all?
No.
That's all natural.
Yeah.
You have no gray.
No, I don't think so. I've never seen any.
I get it in my beard. That's why I shave it, because
That's why I was wondering that we were lateral with. But yeah, a lot in common
Yeah.
for sure.
That's super funny. Stuff like that. How do you balance everything? How do you even schedule all this, your entire life?
I don't feel like it's difficult, but it is maybe a little scary sometimes because I'm afraid to overbook
Okay.
because I have so many calendars and so many events. So that's the only scary part. But other than that, balance has become natural. And I'm going to say it's that way because I'm doing what I love and it's organic.
Okay.
It
So everything
organically flows.
just meshes together perfectly.
I guess.
Okay.
'Cause
Awesome.
I have like zero stress in my life
Wow.
for the first time in, took me 50 years to find my dream job.
Okay.
And, and I didn't, people go, oh, I love my job.
Right.
And I actually had a job that I really loved, but this blows that job away.
Oh, wow.
So
That's inspirational. So, if you don't love your job, go find it, because apparently everything else falls into place, I think.
absolutely.
That's
because,
awesome.
I've thought about this because it is so different than the way I've been living.
Yeah.
And I think when, everybody has to work.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So if it's something that's a have to and you're not like driven to do it, it really hurts your soul, your heart, your mind. Like it weighs.
Right.
And I think if it's something that you love, that comes natural and that you're good at. So that's the other thing, finding out what you're good at that you love, that your heart, your mind, your soul is happy all the time.
That makes sense.
So everyone around you is happy.
Right.
Because you exude happiness and positivity, and everybody around you, like my husband, I'm going to say, because honestly, he'll kill me if I say this.
Oh, I can't wait.
He was
Glad we're
such
recording.
a negative person. I mean, really bad.
Okay.
And 2 years ago, Delta COVID almost killed him.
Wow.
They gave him 5% chance to live. He was on the ventilator for 18 days. And coming out of that and being married to me has made him such a positive person now.
That's awesome.
But he was super negative.
Right.
And I really think that the timing, because I had just started with Guardian Angel maybe like 6 months when this happened to him. And I had to take 3 months off to rehab him because he was paralyzed from the neck down.
Oh, wow.
So he went to a regular rehab, and then he came home and he could barely walk. And I took it from there. And it took 3 months to get him to get back to work, which they said would never happen. Well, they said he wasn't going to live. So anyway, you get all that.
Yeah.
So I think God has a plan, and everything fell into place. And he is a different person now.
That's amazing.
So he's
do you
very
think
positive.
it's the positivity that made those changes?
I think him being near death and then being around me, always happy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh boy, I'm in a losing battle here.
That's awesome.
I think it just kind of just fell into place, and
that's a pretty amazing story.
And there's another tragedy that something good came out of. So I'm a firm believer in that.
Right.
No pain, no gain.
That's awesome. That's a pretty good example of that. So, man, new lease on life.
And then the tragedy with Ricky and Jessica, and then what Guardian Angel does, not only for realtors and buyers and sellers, but, this year we're doing the fence install. Mm-hmm. And it has not only helped families, but it's inspired others. So there's a realtor from Remax.
Okay.
And our first quarter, she called and said, who are you guys using for the fence install? I want to gift my buyer with a fence for their pool.
Oh, that's awesome.
So she did that. And then Holly Meyer Lucas this quarter matched our fence install.
That's so cool.
So there's already been 4 families for sure this year that got a pool fence.
And there was only, 2 quarters so far?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it is the leading cause of death for infants in Florida.
I did recently go to a Drowning Coalition thing, and I this is not common knowledge, I don't think. So I did not know that was the leading cause of death for children every year. So I definitely want to make it one of my missions to, spread this word and get this to change, because it's preventable. Like, number one thing is just like, paying attention, really, having somebody responsible to watch the children and obviously the fences, the system.
Swimming lessons.
Yeah, swimming lessons.
yeah.
So
And-
that's awesome. Maybe we can start seeing that number amplified, the number of fences we can get put up.
Yeah.
4 in the first 2 quarters. Let's aim for 8 in the next quarter.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm putting the challenge out there. If anybody watches this, we're gonna need 8.
And if not, the Live Like Jake is a drowning awareness foundation for children local to the area. And we also support them and give back to them. And they are amazing.
Yeah.
Last year, they taught 400 infants, if they fall in a body of water, how to float on their back and cry until somebody rescues them.
That's awesome.
So 400 kids last year.
Wow. So 400 kids, that won't be a statistic.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. I'm very, very proud of you and this company for doing
Thank
that
you.
and taking that initiative.
It's a feeling that you just don't get from every day. You
Yeah.
know, it's definitely just so fulfilling and so heartwarming.
It's funny. One of the things I was going to ask as I keep checking my list of the questions I want to hit is like career satisfaction. And, you've already like blown that out of the water.
Nailed
it. That's awesome. And all your passions, motorcycles, your husband, your family.
And God. I go to church every Sunday.
I did notice, a very spiritual underlining foundation. That's
Yeah.
awesome. How important is that in like your upbringing and just your daily life, really?
So I 100% am God family. And, I listen to him all day, every day. I listen to his signs and I feel like his will.
That's awesome.
You got to follow it even if you don't agree sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets a little confusing, but he seems to like just hit me a little harder. And sometimes I'll be okay, got it.
I'm not gonna lie. So we share similar faiths, but I'm a lot more stubborn, I think, than you are. So God has to hit me a lot harder most of the times.
Better you than me.
So yeah, I'll take that. But maybe one of these days I'll not be so hard headed and learn a little quicker. So, but that's awesome.
Well, you got time. You're a little younger than me, so.
Yeah, I'm only 25.
Oh, just a couple years.
What's your favorite home inspection story? Do you have one?
Well, Ricky did this video with Amy Burrows. It's so funny. You guys should look it up on the internet. It's called Johnny Tsunami, like worst inspector or something like that.
Okay.
And it's this really funny video of like the worst inspector ever. And of course it, rolls into.
But this is a fake inspector, right?
It's actually Ricky that does it, but
right.
And it's a spoof. It's funny
Okay.
though, but it's hysterical. And but as far as the best inspection, I now and then will show up at an inspection, and I think that my very first inspection is very memorable because the inspector that Ricky hired on first after himself doing all the inspections was a very, I had probably 2 weeks into being with Guardian Angel, and Jessica said, go on an inspection. So she had me meet this inspector, and he was like, so we do this and we do that, and we don't do this because we don't want to cost Ricky money. And if we don't do this right, we'll blah, blah, and he was so like, I just felt like he treated the company like it was his.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he was so passionate about doing the right thing and doing it well and looking good for Guardian Angel that I was like, wow.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like you just meet somebody like that and you're like, wow, this is a good company.
He doesn't still work for Guardian Angel.
He actually was the first inspector Ricky ever hired. He was the head inspector for years and years, and he recently retired.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome.
But he was amazing. He's very detail orientated, always followed the process.
Yeah.
And
how many inspectors is Guardian Angel up to now?
11.
Oh wow. You guys are big.
Huge.
I mean, I imagine you must cover a decent sized area.
So all of Miami, all the way north through Orlando and out west.
Oh, wow.
And this is what I think keeps Guardian Angel in such a great place. And we have 5 stars on Google, almost 2,000 reviews.
That's awesome.
Is because you have to go through an Acumax test to work for Guardian Angel.
Okay.
And those of you who don't know what that is, which I didn't.
Thank you for bringing that up.
It's not a pass or fail test, but it's a test that shows if you're fit for the position.
Okay.
And if you're a fit for the company as a family.
Like the culture?
How we are. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that word. So everybody that we've hired is someone who is going to be a good fit for the Guardian Angel family, and they're going to be a great inspector.
That's awesome.
So I really love that they adapted this process about 3 or 4 years ago. And I think since then, we have been just seamlessly
That's awesome.
doing better and better. And every one of us does our best, period.
That's great. Because, I mean, somebody might fall in love with you and hire Guardian Angel, but sounds like they're going to love their inspector as well. So that's awesome because you're all like hired with the same kind of idea in mind, that same culture mindset. That's awesome.
Exactly. We are hiring 5 more inspectors. If anybody knows anybody with their inspection license, please send them to our website.
There you go. So I think we're going to see an explosion of people signing up to be inspectors.
All right.
If the market keeps turning down, maybe I'll be one of them.
I think you'll be a good fit.
Oh, yeah? Okay. I'll keep it in mind. What kind of things do you do to de-stress? Although you said, I feel like you don't seem to have stress, but like, okay.
I mean, riding, just something that's very surreal. It's, I don't know how to describe it, but, you're in your own space, the wind, being out in nature, going fast.
Not above the speed limit, though, right?
No, never. Never.
That's awesome.
No, I am very safe, and we only ride in off times, like Sunday mornings, or, we always try to stay out of traffic. And I always listen. Yeah. If my bike won't start. Right. My clutch isn't working. I'm out of gas. Okay, God.
I get it.
I'm not going to ride today.
Yeah. What's the longest ride you've gone on?
I went with some friends to Tequesta to see a band. One night. And we took an out west road, like Seminole Pratt and Canner. And it was just this very zigzaggy long country ride.
Where'd you find zigzaggy roads in Florida?
I know. Well, part of it was through Jupiter and the other part was out west. And honestly, a friend of mine is so good with finding roads like that.
Oh, that's super cool.
And there were probably at least 10 of us, maybe 12.
Oh, wow.
And it was a nice little bike ride. And, I have a sport bike, so I don't really like the really long rides.
Right. Yeah, because it's not as comfortable.
This one was perfect. It was just under an hour. Okay. And the roads were so fun that, it didn't matter.
Oh, that's awesome.
But it was a good night.
How'd you build your community of riders that you go out with?
It was tough because in Broward, where I grew up and my brothers and my parents are, we have a ton of people to ride with. And most of them are family.
Okay.
Yeah. So coming up here, it was tough and it took a while to build. But you just end up meeting people either on Facebook or your neighbor. Oh, my friends ride and whatever. Yeah. And
I do feel like there's just this camaraderie when oh, wait, you ride?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like, wow.
That part makes me miss riding, but I like having air conditioning in my car.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we're not riding at all in August. We rode.
It is brutal.
In July, the last week of July. Okay. And we're like, oh, no. Yeah. We got to wait. Yeah. It's just too hot.
Well, only a couple more months and it'll cool down, right?
Yes.
Do you have any future goals or ambitions that you're thinking about,
Sure.
on the horizon? Do you mind sharing?
Sure.
Okay.
So we just sold a property we had in Tennessee for about 20 years. And we want to do that again. Okay. But this time we want to find a place that maybe we'll retire.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Near future. So we're actually planning a trip to Tennessee because we really love Tennessee.
Oh, I've been there one time, whitewater rafting, and it was awesome.
Oh.
And they have Deals Gap up there, so that's
A lot of
really
good
good
riding
riding.
up
Yeah,
there, too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous up there. And
Yeah.
good outdoor, like sporting stuff and riding
And it's like all 5 seasons, but none of them really dramatic.
right. Nothing's
know?
you don't have extreme cold or extreme heat. You just have mild everything.
Yeah, like 10 inches of snow, through the winter.
Right.
Summers are hot, but at night it's cool. And, the humidity is not like Florida.
Yeah.
Humidity's pretty rough here, I have to admit.
So how long of a plan is that, do you think?
Probably like 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
I mean, we're looking pretty seriously.
3 to 5 years retiring and moving there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm not on board with this plan, but
I mean, I might not retire. I mean, Guardian Angel is about...
I'm highly against you retiring, but that's my own selfish reasons. You know that. But that's awesome. I hope you find an awesome property up there. Make a good rental and then retire up there someday. Maybe I'll rent it from you if it's a vacation rental.
There you go. Or you need a property up there.
Yep, there you go.
Investment property.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Anybody watching that's from Tennessee, reach out to me.
It's really hard to find a realtor up there, I have to tell you.
Is it really?
It took us 3 or 4 to find somebody to take our house on up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did have friends that recently moved. They moved up there, and then since then they've moved back.
Really?
So I will find out if they had a good realtor, and I will put you in touch with them.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything that I possibly did not ask or think about that you would like to share?
Well, how could Guardian Angel help the Brooks team?
That's a darn good question. I don't know. I'm so used to just asking, how can I help, that I think you guys are already doing a fantastic job. I feel like anytime I want to do a class or, some kind of seminar or Brokers Open, or you guys are always there with a helping hand and, willing to pitch in. And I don't know what else I could possibly ask for. I would feel guilty about asking for anything more, honestly. I just want to continue to build our relationship and help pour into you guys. And I feel like in turn that helps me, because the more I can serve, the more I get, essentially.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I feel like you get back tenfold what you give. So if you give negativity, you're going to get 10 times the negativity back.
Yeah, don't want that.
No, absolutely not. Well, thank you for today.
And I do thank you for all the other realtors that you have introduced me to, like today, Christian.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, so I appreciate that.
I love connecting great people with great people.
Thank you, because really, I really just want to put us with people, realtors that, I mean, I know it's kind of like a business and that's my job and everything, but I feel like I see so many difficulties through your process. And of course, inspection is the most difficult one.
Right.
And I really am so passionate about how our team works, whether it's through the good or the bad, that I just want to help as many realtors as possible.
Right. Well,
I truly do.
That's awesome, because I kind of have the same mentality. That's why I always try and mentor newer agents. Is I feel like if we can make the whole industry better, it just serves us all, and transactions will be better, smoother. Well, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. And thank you for putting up with my first podcast.
This is your first?
Yes, I'm winging it, and I just invited my good friend Gina to have a conversation with me and record it. You knew I was recording this, right?
What?
So thank you.
Wow, you're welcome. My pleasure. What an honor.
Thank you. Well, I'll see you at the next Brokers Open.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Let us be your guardian.
There you go. Guardian Angel.